Oh, go figure. Look at this. Oh, look at this. First thing I do is I say, would you look at this? You know what I mean? Yeah. Just look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah, well.
What the heck is that?
What's wrong, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. Well, we all saw it coming. Warhammer, of course, getting woke, just like all the great video games and board games of our time. I also often lament how lame games like Magic the Gathering have gotten since they decided to embrace political ideologies and care more about having enough trans representation in their fictional video game or fictional card game, as opposed to worrying about destroying the secondary market with ridiculous reprints and crappy card stock quality. But anyway, Warhammer is probably on a completely different level in terms of lore, in terms of cost to enjoy the game, and the monopoly that the company that runs it actually has over the game. Games Workshop is probably one of the most hated companies by the fans in the game of any company. Like, I can't think of another company that is more hated by its fans. Maybe Activision, Call of Duty, you could maybe say that. Well, coincidentally, 3 of the top 4 stockholders in Game Workshop are BlackRock and Vanguard Group, I believe. We're going to take a look at that. So you knew it was coming. These woke ESG companies invest, and of course, now we get it. Games Workshop makes insulting retcon to Warhammer 40k lore, claims all male Adaptus cadre faction had always featured female members. Now, I am not a deep lore Warhammer person, although I did do I had fun playing Warhammer RP with Arch Warhammer and V. I think Sargon too for a little while. I had a lot of fun with that. Skaven for the win. But anyway, in a development that can only be described as massively insulting to the intelligence of their player base, Warhammer 40k developer Games Workshop has taken to claiming that despite years of official canonical evidence to the contrary, the game's all-male Adaptus Custodes faction, Custodes or Custodes, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, has always included female members among its ranks. Well, this is just simply not true. The retcon to the franchise long-standing lore was first revealed to the public on April 13th, courtesy of YouTuber Ash Barker's preview of the upcoming 10th edition of Warhammer 40k guidebook, Codex Adaptus Custodes. I don't know, I'm going to keep mispronouncing that. Here's the thing. What is Warhammer? Well, it is a huge universe, a brutal universe that people love. There are lots of ways you can enjoy the Warhammer universe, whether it's like Total War Warhammer video games, or it's playing the Warhammer RPG, or it's like D&D, but with Warhammer lore. You can play the actual figurine, the minifigure game, which is where they make a lot of money selling very expensive figures. Therein, eagle-eyed viewers notice that the book's introduction of actual characters in the lore. Games Workshop had specifically chosen to highlight a battlefield story concerning a female custodian by the name of Calidus Kesh. Custodian Calidus Kesh stood upon the bridge of the Cobra-class destroyer, begins a paragraph within the subsection headline, The Solar Fastness. Named Vigilant Flame, the warship belonged to the mighty Battlefleet Solar. She anchored in the shadows in the back of the bridge, positioned at a spot where she could observe the actions of the crew members, they took instrumental pits at the armament shrines. In the case of the shipmaster, stood ramrod straight before his command throne. Now, here's the thing. Retcons, we're used to this, right? Got to have more strong, independent women who don't need no man. That's the whole purpose. We can't create anything new. We must just change and wokeify whatever the old stuff was. As noted above, prior to the publication of this new codex, which is like, lore for the game, the concept of a female custodian didn't exist. A legion of 10,000 elite genetically modified warriors who serve as the personal guard to the ruler of the Imperium of Man, the God Emperor of mankind, as explained in their initial introduction in 2017's Codex Space Marines 8th edition, all members of Adaptus began their lives as the infant sons of the noble houses of Terra. The Adaptus are introduced in Warhammer 40k Codex Space Marines 8th edition, elaborating this brief bit alone. So essentially, look, they weren't women. Now, what do you think the company did when its own customers knew the lore better than they did? In turn, blatantly lying to customers' faces, the official account then fired back. Okay, so following the revelations that Codex Adaptus Custodes would be running aground of the franchise's established lore, in response to an April 13th post made to the official Warhammer Twitter account announcing that the guidebook was now available for pre-order, site user, 721252, directly inquired to Games Workshop, why did you make them female? In a turn of blatantly lying to the fan's face, the official account fired back, since the first of the 10,000 were created, there have always been female custodians. To get ruthlessly ratioed would be an understatement. Not only did they get ruthlessly ratioed, but they were blocking people left and right. If you see, first of all, this comment, that's not true. They were always men. See my pinned thread. You can make them female now. Mistake when you have the Sisters of Silence, which is what you could use them for. But why lie about the past? And you see, obviously, all the lore from the book. These men never leave Earth. And a new identity upon culmination, allowing every dynasty that had offered up its sons to claim the children of the successful ones alive and well among the Golden Brotherhood. There were none gainsay alone. Brotherhood of there's multiple examples of people in the comments just absolutely crushing. Look at this. Female player here. I have Ultramarines, Orcs, Chaos Marines, and I collect various minis that I enjoy, like Grimaldus. From now on, I will just be 3D printing. I will pirate your books and share them with all my friends for free. This is pandering and insulting and condescending. 7,000 likes. What you might not know about the game, if you don't understand Warhammer or what it is, they make all the money off leading with an iron grip these miniatures that you use to play the game. Now, you could use tokens or you could use homemade stuff, but the fact of the matter is people spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on these miniatures because part of the hobby is to collect them, to paint them to your own, your own likings. And, Games Workshop makes a lot of money for that. Well, in 2024, you can pretty much get a pretty nice 3D printer for under $500. And you can see, like, people can 3D print your models. Hope this was worth it. Why, prior to this book, has there not been a single named character in all the codices or books? This is the laziest thing I've ever seen. By the way, all these having thousands of likes. I've ever heard from this account. Ever since 1987, not so much as a whisper in lore or novels, or a single miniature. Now all of a sudden, boom, they were always a thing. No world building, no development, so disappointing and pathetic. I'll just walk away. You aren't going to replace the income lost, making the 100 women who care happy. By the way, just to point out, it's not just men that are upset by this. And again, with the way the media will spin this, the way that like the games journalists will spin this is like men angry that women in their game. There are women in the Warhammer universe. So it's like people who have never played the game or even like casually asked about it. There are women in the universe. It's not like it was all men forever men. And you see this. I don't think this approach is going to go as well as you think it will. And also, Warhammer joins Disney and Doctor Who to being allergic to money. Here's Thor Odinson. I've been a Games Workshop customer for over 30 years. This is the kind of money I spend on Games Workshop products, whether it's at my local game store, online stores, the Games Workshop web store, or other sources. I collect over a dozen 40k armies totaling approximately 50,000 points, which is... one of which is over 4,000 points. I have multiple Blood Brawl teams, Necromunda gangs. I'm currently building Bretonia, the Army of the Old World, I went ahead and canceled my Warhammer Plus subscription. I'm going to pause my spending on Warhammer products for the time being and take some time to reevaluate how much, if anything, I want to spend in the future. If you're not going to respect the time and effort that people put into setting and learning about the world you've built, you're not going to support the customers who've helped you build your company for decades, then I don't see a reason to put any effort into supporting Games Workshop in return. And you can just see this person has spent thousands and thousands of dollars in the last year. All right. This is a heavy hitter customer. And like, again, they could have built them into the world. They could have created new factions. They could have done literally anything else except for attacking your own customers, arguing with your own customers. And then you look at shareholder statistics, of course. The number 2 and number 3 shareholders are BlackRock and Vanguard. Would you look at that? Just another woke company. These companies, once they're publicly traded, they just go out and they don't care about pissing off their customers anymore because they no longer answer to them. They answer to, places like BlackRock and other places like that. I mean, you can look, they're hiding replies. Look at what happened to look at what happened to their stock. Look what happened to their stock. That's a massive drop. Games Workshop Group PLC. Games Workshop Group PLC stock. 5 days? No days? How come that's not loading? Come on, Brave browser. I keep trying to use you, buddy. It's just nowhere is loading. Well, anyway, that doesn't look good for them. And when you're talking about hiding replies, it looks like their stock goes down. Wait, where is this? Go back. So you see, 10,000. I'm not sure exactly what currency this is, but it's down 1.45%. It's not like a catastrophic drop, but, I would say that's a reaction. People saying chuds seething, Warhammer. Okay, fine. I mean, go ahead and do it, and I hope it works out for you because I know it won't. And, people will spend their money elsewhere or they'll just 3D print. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.